All right, good morning, everyone. Can I get a thumbs up if you can hear me? I just want to make sure everybody can hear me loud and clear. Can you hear me? Awesome. Again, good morning. I am Victoria from Victoria's Kitchen and Kids Cooking School, and I am honored to be here this morning to show you all how to make a simple and quick, easy little snack or dessert, okay? Are you ready? All right, let's get started. So today you're going to be making my baked cinnamon sugar twist, okay? So if you're familiar with churros, this is my version of it that's baked, and it's actually quicker and it's easier for the younger kids and older kids to actually make. It doesn't involve any frying because we're baking, which is an excellent alternative, okay? All right, let's get started. So the number one thing you want to make sure you do before you start cooking is wash your hands. So I already washed my hands and we're going to get started. So our list of ingredients, which you all have probably already seen, is only a few things. So we're going to use a can of your favorite crescent rolls. You can also use a can of biscuits if you want. We're going to use some organic sugar, okay? Then we're going to use some light brown sugar. And if you want, you can use dark brown sugar. I just always prefer light brown sugar because it has enough molasses in it, but not too much, okay? We're going to use some melted butter, and you can use unsalted butter for all your recipes. Always use unsalted butter because you want to make sure you can control how much salt is in your food. And I like to also use a plant-based butter, like avocado butter, but you can use regular unsalted butter as well. And we have some ground cinnamon. And then for later on in the recipe, we have some semi-sweet or dark chocolate chips, okay? All right, let's get started. So first thing first is we got to get the dough out of the can. So what we're going to do is I am going to peel my can. I'm going to follow the instructions on my can, which means I start from the top and I start peeling down. And usually you see this line right here? This line right here is where you want to actually press down a spoon or give it a good bang. So I'm going to give it a good bang. And you see that? How simple and easy was that? All right. So this is what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully roll it open. You see this? I'm going to roll it open, and I'm actually going to see if I can get you to get a closer view of this. So I'm going to roll the can open very carefully, and guess what? I'm going to roll my dough right onto my clean table, okay? Always make sure you have a clean table space, okay? Now I want you guys to get a close look here. Here's where you want to just be careful at. You guys see this little line right here? Well, I'm going to use my pointy finger, waving my pointy finger around. I want to carefully, you see this line? I want to use my pointy finger and just open that line a little bit. Open it up. You don't want to smash it. You want to be careful and just peel it open. Good. And once you got that peel going, you want to turn it to an angle that's good for you. So you can do what? So you can roll it out. I'm going to use the palm of my hand, the high five part of my hands, and I'm just going to roll it out. It can get a little sticky, but if you're careful and gentle with your dough, it'll be good. All right, so let's do some math in the kitchen. While you're here, let's count. Remember, there's always math and science and reading and writing and all that fun stuff involved in cooking and baking. So let's count how many shapes we have here. You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or in Spanish, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8. We have 8 pieces, okay? So what we're going to do is we want to turn this into 16 pieces. So we're going to use some math in the kitchen. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to cut each piece in half, right? All right, so this is what I'm going to do. Before I cut each piece in half, I want you to come and take a look here. Before I cut each piece in half, I want to make sure that I cut these little dots, okay? So we're going to cut things in half, but before we cut them in half, what are we going to do? We're going to cut these little dots, okay? So we see these little perforated dots here. I'm going to take my pizza cutter, or you can use a butter knife. And everywhere I see those little dots at, I'm going to do my best to cut those little dots because I want to separate all my pieces first. You see these little dots right here? It's just like following the dots, okay? Like when you have those little games and you connect the dots, we actually want to cut through our dots. So we have all these cut in their own pieces. Now we want to cut them in half. So we're going to cut each piece in half. So we can have 16 pieces. There we go. Cut each piece in half, and it's not going to be a perfect cut, but you do the best you can, okay? All right, so we have our 16 pieces, okay? So we have our 16 pieces. So now what I want to do is I want to make sure that I have my baking pan. This is my baking pan. And some parchment paper. So I have some baking pan and a parchment paper. And I'm going to put my parchment paper right on my baking pan, okay? Now, the reason why I love to use parchment paper is because it's easy cleanup. We all like to cook and have fun, right? But we want an easy cleanup, not a lot of dishes to wash, or we want to be able to wash them really quick. Well, if you use parchment paper, guess what? You just have to pick up the parchment paper when you're done and wash your dish, and then you're done, okay? All right, so I'm going to get my parchment paper in my pan, and I'm also going to make sure that my oven is preheated to 375 degrees, okay? So ovens need to be preheated to 375 degrees. So I have my pan ready, and so what I want to make sure is that you all can see all of this dough right here, because we're going to do a little twist. So I'm going to pick up one piece of dough at a time. So we have this one piece of dough. Now we're going to twist our dough, okay? So this dough is kind of like Play-Doh a little bit. So I'm going to just take my left hand and my right hand, and I'm going to twist. So I'm going to twist my left hand down, and my right hand is going to go up. So left hand twist down, right hand twist up. They're twisting the opposite directions. You see that? And we're going to make some easy little twists. It's like an arts and craft project, all in one. You see these twists? And then we're going to take these twists and we're going to take them down to our pan, and we're going to do like that. So we're going to twist all these pieces. I'm going to twist my left hand down, and my right hand is going to go up. You can twist these whichever way is comfortable for you. Just make sure that each hand is twisting in the opposite direction. And students, we already know that when we do things in the opposite direction, that one hand goes one way and the other hand goes the other way. So they're doing different ways, opposites, okay? Awesome. All right, so we're gonna twist this. Twist this up. There we go. And we're gonna put all these up here. So we're twisting and we're twisting. Twisting and we're twisting. Let me get a closer look. All right, so we're twisting and we're just putting them all up here. Oh my goodness, you guys, this is gonna be so easy. It does look like a lot of work, but I promise you it's gonna be so worth it. And it's really easy. You can have fun doing this with your family in the kitchen, fun doing this with your friends in the kitchen. This is something all ages can do. It's something all of them can do. Something all ages can do. So I'm going to keep on twisting all these. I'm almost done. Remember, we have 16 slices that we have to twist. And while you're twisting, you can have one family member that's actually melting that half a stick of butter. You can melt it in the microwave, or you can melt it on top of the stove. Whichever way you melt it, be very careful, because hot butter, of course, like I said, is hot. So melted butter can be very hot, so you want to be careful. Oh my goodness, you guys, we're doing so good. We're almost done. It's a lot of twisting, but I promise you this is going to be one of the tastiest little quick desserts that you've ever had. All right, so while you have that one family member or friend that is actually melting your butter, you're going to finish off your little twist. And then we are going to make our cinnamon sugar topping. I'm curious, in the chat room, let me know, have you all made any desserts before? Do you usually bake? Do you cook? Let me know, I'm curious. Send some messages in the chat room. I would like to know how many students and families up here cook and bake together and enjoy it together. You're a baker? Oh my goodness. Let me know in the chat room. What do you bake? If you're a baker, you probably bake everything. Oh my goodness. I am so curious. You can be any age and be a baker. Young kids can be a baker, right? You can do what you want to do as long as you set your mind to it, right? Oh my goodness. You help your mom? Oh my goodness, that's beautiful. See, you're in the kitchen together with your family and friends. That's what it's all about. All right, so now what we're gonna do is I want you to take a look at all these twists. Now what we wanna do is take our melted butter. You love to experiment with desserts? That's fabulous. That is the best way. That is the best way to learn is to experiment, okay? Which means always try new things and see what works and see what maybe not works. And that's the best thing you can do to learn, okay? All right, so I'm gonna take my melted butter and I'm gonna just spoon butter all on top of these little twists. If you have a brush, you can actually just brush the butter on there. We're gonna spoon that butter all on here. That's looking fabulous, fabulous right there. And like I said, you can also use a brush, a pastry brush to get that butter up there. And the reason why we're putting this butter up here is to make sure that our cinnamon sugar mixture sticks to our dough, okay? There we go. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we are going to make our cinnamon sugar topping, okay? So the only thing we need to do is to get 3 tablespoons of organic sugar, 1 tablespoon of light brown sugar, and 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. And then we are going to mix that up. And this is a basic recipe for a cinnamon sugar topping that you can use on any type of pastry, any type of baked goods, like your muffins. Give that a good mix like we just did. And guess what? We're gonna sprinkle this. We don't have to use all of it, but we're gonna sprinkle it onto all of our little twists. And that's gonna make them cinnamon sugar twists. Oh yeah, it's gonna be fabulous. And like I said, you don't need to use all of that cinnamon sugar. You can save some for a different recipe. And don't worry about it. It does get a little messy, but it's okay. That is okay. And guess what? After we put this cinnamon sugar on, we are going to put this in the oven. Like I said, our ovens are preheating at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. We're gonna put these in for, guess what? They only bake for about 10 to 11 minutes. No time at all, right? All right, so let's put these in the oven. These are gonna bake for, like I said, 10 to 11 minutes. I'm gonna set a timer. All right, so now we are going to learn how to make an easy chocolate dip or chocolate sauce. And guess what? It's only 1 ingredient, okay? All right, so what we're going to do is, first I'm going to straighten up this little thing right here. Does anybody have any questions in the chat room? Do you have any questions? Let us know. Send some information in the chat room if you have questions about different recipes. If this is the first time you've seen a recipe like this before, just let me know. Why don't you guys come on over here? So while we're waiting for any questions or anything to be in the chat room, what I want to do is I want you guys to take a look at what I have going on right here. All right, so what I have right here is what I call a homemade double boiler, okay? So you can buy a double boiler. It's completely fine. But if you are at home and you want to make something, which I'm going to explain to you, something that can't be cooked directly in the pan over heat, because you don't want to put your chocolate chips directly in a pan, okay? You need them to be on top of water that's boiling, okay? So what you would do is you would get a nice pot, a nice deep pot, like you see this pot right here, it's nice and deep, and you would fill it with some water. So once you come in here, you only need a little bit of water. See that little bit of water in there? And then you get a nice metal bowl, metal or glass bowl, a glass bowl that can actually say it can take enough heat. And then you would just put that bowl on top of this pot with the water that's going to be boiling in it. And that's how you make a homemade boiler, okay? All right, so the most important thing about making a quick chocolate sauce, we basically are just gonna melt the chocolate. Now, of course, you can always do this in a microwave, but it's something funner and more experimental about actually doing things on the stove top and in the oven, right? It makes you feel like you're actually like you're cooking because you are cooking, and it makes you feel fabulous, right? It does, it does. It makes me feel fabulous. So I guarantee it's gonna make you feel fabulous too, okay? Now, chocolate. Chocolate does not like water. So you want to make sure that your bowl is absolutely dry, okay? So I have dried this bowl and I want to make sure that it's absolutely dry, okay? Now my water is just starting to warm up and I'm just going to put my hand over here to see how hot it is. It's not that hot, okay? So we're going to wait just a few seconds. Now let's talk about chocolate. Who in here likes chocolate? Let me know in the chat room. Are you a chocolate lover? Is chocolate one of your favorite things? I'm curious. Let me know. Is chocolate one of your favorite things? Me, oh yes, I love chocolate. So as I've gotten older, I actually like the unsweetened or bitter, the natural chocolate. Do you guys? Oh my gosh. So there's milk chocolate. There's the semi-sweet chocolate. Semi-sweet chocolate is always a safe bet for most recipes, right? Because it has a little bit of sweetness, but not too much sweetness, okay? So if you are ever in doubt and you're not sure what type of chocolate to use, semi-sweet chocolate is a good choice. It's a little bit of sweet and not a little bit of sweet, okay? So it's a perfect blend. Then you have milk chocolate. For those who eat, that's more of a processed chocolate, right? And then you have, like I said, these semi-sweets. So, and then you have the dark chocolate, okay? So the dark chocolate has a nice bitter flavor, but it's actually been found to have a lot of health benefits. All right, so that's enough talk about chocolate. So let's get started. So I hear my water starting to boil. So what I'm gonna do is, and students, you have to have adults with you when you do this, okay? Adult supervision is always key and important in the kitchen. I'm gonna pour my chocolate chips in. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm not gonna add any water to it, okay? I'm not gonna add any water to my pot. I'm going to carefully work with my chocolate, okay? I'm just gonna keep moving my chocolate around. I'm gonna say, come on, chocolate. I'm gonna move you around. I'm not gonna let you stay still for a minute. Remember, this bowl is dry, okay? This bowl has to be dry, all right? So what I'm gonna do is, I'm hearing that water start to boil. And you guys see how it's starting to melt already? Look at that. This is starting to melt. Like I said, you can do this on the microwave, but I highly recommend that you families just start being careful in the kitchen and doing things together on the stovetop, okay? Even if you just let the students, the kids, the younger kids stir it together while it's not on the stove, and then you put it back and then take it off and make sure it's cooled down and go back and forth, do that. You want to make things fun and easy in the kitchen. Don't worry about the messes. Don't worry about the messes, sweeties, because, you know, we all were little once and people were patient with us. So we have to make sure that we're patient with our kids, okay? I know it can be a lot sometimes. I am a mother as well. I have 3 young girls. I have a 9-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 6-year-old. So guess what? I know all about patience, and I teach kids how to cook every day. So I just want you to be calm in the kitchen and just have fun, okay? All right, so let's take a look at how this is looking. You see that? Look at that. That chocolate is almost done. I have a few little clumps here, but you see how it's starting to melt? See how nice and easy that was? Now, my water is boiling a lot. I'm gonna let you see. See that boil right there? That boil right there. I'm gonna turn my eye off because I have enough heat. And guess what? Just like that, this is done. Look at this. I want you guys to take a look at this. How easy was this? Look at that. This was really easy, okay? This was really easy, okay? There we go. And let me see if I can clean this camera up a little bit because it was boiling. There we go. So I want you to take a look at that chocolate. How easy was that chocolate? That was easy. All right, so I'm going to get my chocolate bowl, my bowl of chocolate latte, and come back over here. All right, so now I have my chocolate. I'm going to keep stirring it just a little bit so you all can see. Look at this. This is beautiful. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my chocolate and put it into a little container where we can have it to be dipped into, okay? All right, so it's a little thick. And it's gonna stick just a little bit to the pan, but that's okay. It's gonna be a nice thick chocolate dip. And this is a one-time thing, right? We don't eat these all the time. This is like a one-time little treat that you and your family can make together, because we don't eat like this all the time. That's not what we wanna do. Sometimes it's just fun to make some little desserts together. Give that a little shimmy, shimmy shake. Oh my goodness. So I want you guys to take a look at the cinnamon twist. What do you guys think? How fabulous is that? That is gorgeous. It is so gorgeous. Oh my goodness. All right, so this is what we're gonna do. We're going to plate up. And what does plate up mean? We're gonna put it on a dish and make it presentable for people to enjoy with their eyes so they can enjoy it in their tummy afterwards, okay? All right, so I like to use a little spatula. It's cooled down just a little bit. And I want you to get a close up here. Look how nice and fluffy yet crisp it is, okay? You see that? Now, I let it stay in the oven for about 10 or 11 minutes. But what you can do is, it just depends on how you want it, right? It just depends on how you want it to be crispy, or do you want it to be fluffy? If you want it to be a little bit crispier, guess what? You can keep it in the oven for like another 2 or 3 minutes or so. Just make sure you wash it, because sugar can burn, okay? So make sure you wash it. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna gently separate these. I like mine just like this. I'm gonna separate these. And look, you can do these just like cinnamon rolls if you want it. You can put some golden raisins inside of them and twist them up. You can put some nuts if you don't have any nut allergies, or the people you're serving for doesn't have any nut allergies. You can put some nuts inside of it and roll it up. You can make this into a breakfast version and actually put some breakfast foods inside of it and roll it up. This recipe can go for so many different things, okay? It doesn't have to only be a dessert. You cannot put the cinnamon sugar on it and put different meals, different ingredients inside of the twist, like some pizza sauce, some pepperoni, or like I said, make a breakfast one and put some scrambled eggs and cheese and turkey sausage in it and roll it up, and it can be a breakfast option. This can go so many different ways. All right, so you can leave it like this, or what you can do is you can take a whisk and get your whisk going in that chocolate a little bit. And guess what? You can do a little drizzle. Just like that. Now that can get a little messy, but it's fun. And it looks really nice. Look at that. And like I said, we don't eat this all the time. This is just a one-time thing, okay? One time. You can enjoy some desserts, but it needs to be a one-time off thing that does not get eaten all the time. So guess what? You're done. That's all it took to make that fun and easy dessert, baked cinnamon sugar twist. I sure hope that you all enjoyed this, and I hope that you also make it at home. I'm going to turn it back over to Alexis.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us. I know I had fun.